gonna start. All right. Man, y'all got quiet.
Yeah.
All right. So, chapter 13 talks all about political transformations, but the whole unit that we're going to talk about talks about how everything starts to come together and connect all across the world in what we call the modern era, or what is called the modern era. Okay. So your vocabulary words that we had to do last night. Let's go ahead and go through those really quick. I'm not going to write them up on the board because you should have had them filled out, but we will go over them. So they are in the back of your book if you do have questions, and if you were not here, they are on page 580. Is that it?
It's a big difference.
Yeah, page 580. All right, so you have 17 terms, and it's going to have to do with North and South America, Russia, and the Mughal Empire, which I know y'all love the Mughal Empire because you just read an essay. All right, so let's go through some of these things. See if this will work. Awesome. So somebody tell me what you read or what you defined about for Hernan Cortez. Karina.
Spanish conquistador who led the expedition that conquered the Aztec Empire in modern Mexico.
Very good. So Hernan Cortez, the easiest way. All right. So Hernan Cortez, we're going to talk about a couple different conquistadors during this first part of the section. So Hernan Cortez is the Aztec. All right.
So he led the assault of the Aztec Empire, because that's what I remember.
Yeah, that's him. All right. Cortez. The easiest way that I always remember that is Cortez and Aztec. They both have Z's in them. All right. So that's
What about Aztec?
Aztec.
Aztec.
Yeah, but I meant like what
It
about
has a Z. All
He
right.
led the.
So what? He's the one that
Oh,
conquered the
he's the one
Aztec.
that killed all those people. Nice.
Yes. All right. He's the one that conquered the Aztec. Very good. All right. So what's our next word?
A great dying.
The Great Dying. It goes right along with the Aztec and the Inca, and actually all other Native American groups in North and South America. What is the Great Dying? Esme.
Term used to describe the devastating demographic impact of European-born epidemic disease on the Americas.
Very good. So the Great Dying relates to when all native people, indigenous people in North and South America began to come in contact with Europeans. They were not used to diseases, germs, smallpox, measles, yellow fever, malaria, the flu, okay? All that stuff they were not used to. They did not have an immune system built up for. So the Great Dying is what happened when everybody started to get sick and die off. You're going to read tonight that there's some quotes in there that talk about like Native American tribes. Half of them were too sick to move, which means they didn't have enough food for the whole tribe, which means nobody could take care of them. So like people literally starved to death in their beds. All right? It was not pretty. Okay? What's our next word?
The little ice.
The Little Ice Age. What's the Little Ice Age? Abby.
Tiny ice age.
A period of unusually cool temperatures from the 13th to 19th centuries, most prominently in the northern hemisphere.
Very good. So in the northern hemisphere, which is where we are located, all right, there was a like almost worldwide cooling where the temperatures dropped. Okay, so the Little Ice Age is a thing, and it happened just a couple hundred years ago.
It just happened in North America.
All right, northern hemisphere,
Oh, well, why? How is it a little ice age?
because it wasn't all over.
Oh.
So like remember the last big ice age we had like helped with the formation of the Bering land bridge and like all that stuff. Not that big, right? But there was like a global cooling. Okay, kind of like how we have a global warming right now is the exact
there is
opposite.
such thing as global cooling.
It was snowing last year.
All right. It was what?
It was snowing last year at this time. Look at it now.
I mean, there was ice this morning on my car. It's supposed to snow this weekend tonight.
Supposed to.
Isn't it like a rain?
It snowed yesterday.
Isn't it like a rain
Where?
mixed frost?
Yeah, it's like sleet and nasty stuff. All right, going on. What's the next word?
Crisis.
Huh?
General crisis.
General crisis. What is general crisis?
Widespread.
Great.
The near record cold winters experienced in much of China, Europe, and North America. In the mid-17th century, sparked by the Little Ice Age.
Very good. So we just talked about the Little Ice Age, right? So the crisis that followed that happened in the northern hemisphere, all right? Which is split. What's the line that splits the northern and southern hemisphere?
Equator.
Okay, good. Y'all are being recorded, so make sure I know that. All right. So everything above the equator, right? It got really cold.
Wait, what's
Okay.
the definition?
What'd you say? What was that? So it got really cold up here. All right. And Asia and Russia felt it the most. All right. What's our next word?
Wait, Lloyd, I don't know if my thing.
The Colombian exchange.
All right. For which one?
Ooh, Tyler, what is it?
It's
Go ahead, be our teacher
Lloyd,
and
please
educate
let
us.
Tyler answer this vocabulary question.
tell us, inform us. What is
Oh, no, wait, no, that's a way different thing, right?
No, you said it was
it? No,
I didn't hear you.
But you said you knew it, so you gotta say it now.
I'm good.
I don't think we're recording.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Doing something way different.
Yeah, you're cold temperatures.
What you're trying to hear is not maybe it's being corrected.
It's that place down there.
It's the place south of us.
Yeah. All right. Who's gonna answer that one?
Tyler.
Tyler needs to enlighten
He
everybody.
needs to.
You said I
Do
got
it. Do
You
it.
said I got
Yeah. You don't want to say anything?
I'm good.
All right. Somebody help Tyler out.
Which one is it?
Hey, go ahead.
Abby.
man.
The enormous network of transatlantic communication, migration, trade, and the transfer of diseases, plants, and animals that began in the period of European exploration and colonialization.
Yeah, that was way off.
Colonization.
Colonization.
Of the Americas.
That was way off.
So Columbian exchange. All right, is all the goods that went back and forth. All right, that's what it was. Y'all heard about it whenever and this is when the slave trade will start. All right, later, but this is like everything that went back and forth. All right, across the Atlantic
The
Ocean.
triangle.
Almost. All right. Keep going. What's the next word? Mercantilism. Very good. What is that, Zach?
the economic theory that governments serve their countries' economic interests best by encouraging exports and accumulation.
We need to learn.
Huh?
Precious metals such as silver and gold.
Say it one more time.
For the people.
Wait, the
that-
whole thing?
Yes.
The economic theory that governments serve their country's economic interests best by encouraging exports and accumulation of something.
Okay, so an accumulation of something. All right, mercantilism is like this idea of exports and imports. All right, and trade. Okay. What's our next word? No.
Mazito.
Mulattoes?
Mestizo.
I was gonna say Mazatino.
Mestizo. We looked at this word last year whenever we started talking about South America. All right, South America and the Caribbean. What is mestizo, Ryan?
The term used to describe the mixed race population of Spanish colonial societies in the Americas.
Very good. All right, so mestizo is a person of mixed ethnicities from South America and Spain Spanish descent. All right, so they would be called a mestizo if they were born from those two parents. What's our next word?
Mulatto.
Mulatto. We also looked at this word last year whenever we started talking about South America. Somebody tell me what mulatto is.
A
Dos.
term commonly used for people of mixed African and Spanish blood or European blood.
Yeah, so it would be African. What are you doing?
Again, the dishes.
All right. Yeah.
I know, but I was already over there.
It's fine. All right. So mulatto is African American or African and Spanish descent. All right. What's your next vocabulary word?
Russia. Oh wait, no. Settler colonies.
Settler colonies.
Yeah.
All right. What are settler colonies?
Imperial territories in which Europeans settled permanently in substantial numbers.
Very good. So settler colonies. All right. That's how our country was founded. All right. Or that's how everything started over here. So give me some examples of some people that would have set up settler colonies and where they would have set them up at.
Like when Europeans were settling America.
Okay, but what country? Like, it wasn't just Europe as a whole. What countries
Spain.
did they settle in North America?
Well, after they took
British colonies.
Okay, so the British came over, right, and they set up the settler colonies. We had British, French, and Dutch in North America, and Spanish and Portuguese in South America, all right? And settler colonies are exactly what they sound like. People would come over here, all right, found a new world, and they would settle in colonies. There you go, all right?
What?
Yeah, I know. What is our next word?
Russian Empire.
The Russian Empire. What is the Russian Empire?
A Christian state centered on Moscow that emerged from centuries of Mongol rule in 1480 by 1800.
Say that one more time.
Wait, that's what I did.
A Christian state centered on Moscow that emerged from centuries of Mongol rule in 1480 by 1800, that it expanded into northern Asia and westward into the Baltic and
Very good. So that is the book definition, and that is correct. All right, but it is a very large land empire on the Asian continent. And what she was saying is that it expanded north and to take over the rest of Asia, which we'll talk about. But it was a Christian-based empire that came out of Mongol rule, because we did learn that the Mongols overtook it, or part of it at one time. And what was the part in Russia that was part of the Mongol?
Oh, Kiev
Empire.
and Rus.
Well, Kiev and Rus is like when we talked about them. Yeah, the Khanate of the Golden Horde. All right, but we will talk about the Russian Empire and how they kind of were created and expanded during this time. All right, what is next? Yasak. All right, and what a yasak is very easy. It's a tribute. Okay,
Yes, sir.
yasak is a tribute.
The treaty that Russian rulers demanded from the native peoples of Siberia.
Very good. Yeah. So when Russia was expanding north, right? So the area of Siberia. So you see Russia right here. This is where most of the Russian cities are, right? This expanse up here where like nobody lives. Okay. It's very harsh. Like it's not a very hospitable place. You're in like right at the top of the globe. All right. That's Siberia. Okay. That's where Siberian tigers. Like that's where it all comes from. Okay. Whenever we start talking about the Russian Empire going north or northeast, I'll see if I can bring in or get some pictures and stuff of what Siberia actually looks like. But as Russia moved, they started taking tributes, which we've learned about tribute systems before, and that was the name for it. Brad, what's your next vocabulary word?
The king, the queen.
Shing expansion.
Try that again.
Shing.
The Qing expansion.
I thought it was Chin.
So this is Qin.
Why?
Okay, and so this one is, I think whenever you say this one, it's you say it like this.
Ching chong.
Ching chong.
Qing. Okay. So, what is the Qing expansion?
The growth
the
of
growth of
Qing dynasty China during the 17th, 18th century. The Central Asian Empire.
Yeah, so this is when China, this is the dynasty that was in charge of China. As they started to expand, is he amazing?
I thought it was mine.
Actually here, tell apart so you
I'm
don't
about to say,
take
don't
another one of my
worry.
pencils.
Look at
There you
it.
go.
We'll take you tomorrow.
So the Qing Empire dynasty is the one that, please listen, is the one that when we start talking about Asia expanding into, if you ever hear the term inner Asia, all right, that just means they're going this way. Okay? So they're the ones that went that way to expand their empire. So while we're talking about Europe going this way to expand, Russia goes this way to expand, and Asia or China goes this way to expand. All right? That's what this whole chapter is about. What else?
The Mongol Empire.
Yes.
There you go, the Mughal Empire. Very good. And where is that at?
A successful state founded by Muslim Turkic speaking people in
Yeah.
India.
In India. All right. So it is. It's Turkic speaking people in India. All right. That'll be the two things you remember whenever you have your quiz.
Ottoman is in the.
When's your quiz?
Wednesday.
Very
Wait,
good.
what?
Oh,
Next
shoot, the
Wednesday.
vocab quiz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vocabulary quiz. All right. What is or who is Akbar?
The most famous emperor of India's Mughal Empire.
Very good. Most famous emperor of the Indian Mughal Empire. Going on. Who wants to try to say your next vocabulary word? Huh?
Aurangzeb.
Aurangzeb. Yeah. Very good. All right. Huh?
No, never mind.
Mughal
Are we
Empire
Zeb?
devised-
Mo, tell me who that is.
Mughal emperor who succeeded Shah Jahan, known for his religious zealotry.
What?
Zealotry.
Zealotry.
That's
Yeah. All right. So he was a Mogul emperor that was known for his religious zealotry, and we'll talk about.
Mine it says he reversed his predecessor's policies of religious tolerance and attempted.
That's what I.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. All right. So it's all about religion. All right. And we'll talk about him and what he did. Is there? There's one more.
There's two more.
Which one?
Ottoman
Empire.
Empire.
What's predecessors?
Oh, Ottoman Empire. All right, so you already know a lot. We've already talked about the Ottoman Empire. What's the Ottoman Empire?
It was in wasn't in
Major
Constantinople.
Islamic
They invaded Constantinople.
They
took it over.
Yeah.
And they were
Yeah.
like Turks.
Yeah, so all that was right if you put it all together. All right, Anatolia. All right, it's the word you're looking for. All right, but then we're Turkic-speaking people. They did help with the fall of Constantinople, which is in the Anatolia, Turkey, Asia Minor, Anatolia. All right, and your final word.
No.
Devshirme.
A term that means to like sheer gathering.
They're Shirm.
Devshirme.
It refers to the Ottoman Empire practicing
Devshirme.
young boys from their
Devshirme. It gives you the pronunciation in the book. Yeah.
And,
Right.
and it's when you have to take little children out of church and you have to make them fight the war and teach them how to fight.
It's a tribute of boy children that the Ottoman Turks levied from Christian subjects in the Balkans.
Very good. So after the Ottoman Turks came into the area and took over, the Devshirme was basically, hey, we took over your Christian population in order for us to not do anything bad, or like you owe us a tribute, except not of money, not of goods, but it's going to be of your male children, so then come fight for us. All right. So that's how they got their soldiers. All right. So those are your vocabulary words. You will have a quiz on those on Wednesday. All right. So when we are getting ready to start our whole new unit, all right, and our whole new unit is all about what people call, all right, or what historians call the modern era or the early modern era or world, all right. Yeah, we're about ready to start taking notes, okay. So we're gonna start taking or talking about what it means for it, or why do you think they classify it as the modern era? Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, but what is a predecessor?
Predecessor?
Yeah.
Somebody that comes before you. Predecessor. So Miss Rory Hill was the predecessor to me in middle school.
I like this one.
She was before me.
How
right?
is she? Have you?
She's doing good. Her birthday's a Saturday.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Will she see this YouTube video? Happy birthday.
She has the access to my
Happy
We
thing.
can sing her happy
We can sing happy birthday to her tomorrow. Alright? Not yet. Her birthday's not yet.
Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, we'll go tomorrow for real. Alright. So your chapter 13, alright? Starts, it is notes time, alright? It starts on page 545, and we're gonna talk about politics. Alright, political
I didn't sign up.
transformations. Alright, and what page was it? 545.
13.
Alright, so like I said, we start out this whole thing kind of talking about the early modern world. What or why do you think people call it the early modern world or era? What are some characteristics that would make it modern or early modern? I'll give you a hint. Everything we've been talking about up to this point kind of leads up to it.
Settling, European settlement in North America.
Okay, all right. So we've got European settlement. Was it just of North America?
South America too.
Of the Americas.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe new technologies.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you could say that. All right. New technologies.
Politics. Wait. When was the idea of like a Democrat and a Republican?
Much later. Yeah,
Would
much
architecture be
Alright. You wouldn't get until like that's Democrat Republican parties like American history.
Excuse me?
Democrat Party wasn't founded until Martin Van Buren, I think.
Wow.
I think he's the one that I'll have to double check. I think that was it. Anyway.
architecture?
Okay, so maybe building styles. Alright.
What about the Iliad? Like there was a lot of like new books and
Oh, and one would be farming also, right?
Architecture. The Iliad is from ancient Greece. That's Homer.
I thought you said that's homework. I'm like,
Yes, go home and read the entire Iliad. I have a copy of it back there. Alright. Who said you said farming?
Farming.
Alright, so when you talk about farming, is it, hey, we built this really cool new plow? Or is it
Like
something?
ways of making food, like plant like corn, like
Okay, ways of making food. So like ways we can produce more food.
other than livestock, we have corn, we have like
architecture.
pumpkins,
Say
potatoes.
plows.
Okay, so we're gonna say food production, but also, so with the pumpkins and potatoes, would they have had those? Would they have had everything that we normally had in Europe at this point?
No.
Or are you introducing new things as you start exploring more stuff?
They're
Alright, because maize or corn was very, very specific to where?
South America.
South
America.
The Aztec Empire.
Okay, so it's Central South America. Alright.
Oh yeah. 'cause they
So
put
I
all
will
those
say,
island
we will say, farming / food production.
things. The Aztec Empire put some corn on their like island things.
No, I did.
No, it's the Three Sisters.
Are you serious?
Beans and squash, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And we can say new items. Alright, so that could be food.
Oh yeah, and then they made the
Um,
back then, right?
What else? What other new things would we be introducing?
Like
Travel.
Okay, so new food, new animals.
That's where the Mustang came from.
No, probably not.
I don't think so.
Alright, what else are we introducing? If we start like our whole world is now like starting to open up, alright? Alright, so we do, I mean, we go with new technologies, we've got new ways of sailing, so I'm gonna say new inventions.
Yes.
New war.